Hello again and welcome to Unit 3, Learning Target 3a. I can add or subtract polynomials. So first thing you really need to know is what is a polynomial? A polynomial is an equation with more than one term. So what's a term? Terms are separated by addition or subtraction. That's going to be a key thing to know for now and for future things that we talk about. Terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So right here is an example of a polynomial because it has 1, 2, 3 terms. So right below it you'll see it says monomial, binomial, trinomial. These are just a little bit more specific. This one is a monomial. We know that the prefix mono is 1 because there's only one term right here with this 2x. Binomial, the prefix bi means 2. So 3x, -1, we've got 2 terms. Trinomial, which is the next thing on here, we've got 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms. Therefore, it's a trinomial. The prefix tri means 3. But just in general, polynomials are things that have more than one term. Alright, so let's look now at what like terms look like. So this first one we have says 3x squared and x. Are those going to be like terms? The answer is no, because x squared and x don't match up. Our exponents and our variables have to be the same. So on the next one we've got 5x and 6x. These two are like terms because x and x are the same variable and have the same exponent. The next one, 2xy and 3yx. These would be like terms because your variables are xy and yx. Those are the same variables, have the same exponents. And then the last one on here, we've got 5x squared y and -2xy squared. These would not be because x squared y and xy squared are not the same. You do have the same variables, but your exponents are in different spots. Or the exponents for the first one don't match the exponents for the next one. So the reason why we need to know what terms are is because we can only add or subtract like terms. Alright, looking at example 1. There's nothing in front of this first set of parentheses, so it's really not necessary to even have the first set. So we can just write 3x squared minus 4x plus 6, and we don't need the parentheses around it. There's nothing to distribute in front of it. The next set of parentheses, we've just got a plus sign in front of it. Well, if we wanted to put a number right there, we could say that's a plus 1. But multiplying something by a positive 1 doesn't really change it. So we really still have 7x squared minus 2. From here, we can just combine our like stuff. So I'm seeing a 3x squared and a 7x squared. Those are like terms. If you've got 3x squareds and you add 7x squareds, that's going to give you a total of 10x squareds. The next thing that I see is a -4x, and neither of the other two terms left have an x with it. So we would just write that one down below it. The last two things that we haven't dealt with are a plus 6 and a minus 2. If you've got 6 and you take away 2, you've got a 4 left. So note somewhere that when you're adding or subtracting polynomials, your exponents and your variables don't change. So for example, when we added 3x squared and 7x squared, it's still just 10x squared, not 10x to the 4th, for example. Alright, example 2 down here. Again, there's nothing in front of this first set of parentheses, so we can just write it down. The parentheses aren't really necessary. But this next one, we've got a negative, and we could put a 1 right there. Multiplying something by a negative does change it. All it does is it changes the sign that's with it. So negative 1 distributed through all that would get us negative x squared, a positive 2x, and a negative 3. Now let's combine our like terms. I'm seeing 6x to the third, and that's the only thing that's got x to the third. So I'm just going to write it down. I then see, and I'm going in order by exponents. I see an x squared, and that's the only thing that's got an x squared. So again, I'm just going to write it down. Now I'm seeing a negative 2x and a positive 2x. Well, if you've got negative 2x's and you add 2 to it, those just cancel each other. So the last thing left, we've got a 1 and a negative 3. 1 minus 3 is a negative 2. Alright, 2 more examples, and we'll run through these kind of quickly. It's the same ideas, you're just adding or subtracting your like terms. So, first one we can just write down. We don't need the parentheses. There's nothing in front of it. The next one, again, we can just write down because distributing a positive sign doesn't change anything. Now, looking for my like terms, I'm seeing 3x squared y and negative 5x squared y. If we add those numbers together, well, in this case we'd subtract because it's a negative. 3 minus 5 is a negative 2, and you're talking about x squared y. Next thing I'm seeing is I've got a 2x and a 6x going to give us an 8x. And then lastly, a negative 4y and a positive 3y. If we say negative 4 plus 3, that's going to give us a negative y. Negative 1y if you want to write the 1 in there. Last example. Again, we can write the first one down. There's nothing out front that needs to be distributed. But this negative right here needs to be distributed. It's going to change all those signs to get negative 5x squared minus 3x and a plus 6. 5x squared, negative 5x squared, those are like terms, and if you've got 5 and you take away 5, that's going to cancel. Next thing, we've got negative 2x, negative 3x gives you added together, or negative 2 minus 3 gives you negative 5x. Negative 5 and a plus 6 gives you a plus 1. And that is how you add or subtract polynomials. You just identify what your like terms are, and then you combine them. The variables and the exponents don't change. It's only the number, the coefficient that's out front that'll change. And that's all.